All right, what's good? What's good? It's King Ray Ray, man. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me loud and clear. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear, man. It's your man, King Ray Ray. We're back in the joint again. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Appreciate everybody being in the joint, man. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me loud and clear. Let me make sure I can hear me loud and clear myself. All right. King Ray Ray Show. Let's get a few minutes to get in here, man. As you can see, today we're going to cover Proverbs 18:1. Through desire, a man, having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. Seeketh and involves himself in all wisdom. Seeketh and tries to figure out all wisdom. Seeketh and embraces all wisdom. Markel, what's good, young brother? What's good? Good to see you in the joint. Proverbs 18:1. Through desire, a man, having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. SJ3, my brother, salute. Appreciate you being in the joint as well, man. Let's give the people about 3 more minutes to get in here, man. We're going to go live at 5. Spiritual Alpha, salute, my brother. Good to see you in the building. Y'all keep grinding and growing through life, man, and understanding that the way to navigate this life is within the pages of this word. And would Ray Ray be a king if he didn't come in and speak on this word? Hopefully everybody had a bang up week, man. We made it to the weekend, man, and we had to come through and let go with a little King Ray Ray show. Y'all be looking forward to more of this. If you want to be a member of this live chat, man, then go to the main channel page, the King Ray Ray Show. Next to the subscribe button, you'll see a join button. Click that join button, go in, join the channel. Come back to the chat. Each and every chat will be members only. That way we keep the wrong energy out of this positive space. All right, man. So let's go ahead and get ready to get into it. Through desire, a man, having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. Seeketh and tries to apply all wisdom. Seeketh and tries to understand all wisdom. Seeketh and giveth himself over to knowing all wisdom. Seeketh and giveth himself over to understanding how to apply wisdom by seeking the knowledge of how to do so. Proverbs 18. Now, the first line, through desire. That means that before a man can become who he wants to become, who he needs to become, who he should become, he must first desire to be that better version of himself. Before you can become, you at first must desire to become. A man is driven by his desire. Some of those desires are carnal, but today we're talking about a spiritual desire. We're talking about the desire to overcome the obstacles that sometimes you have created in your own life and beginning to move forward in another direction. You have to have a desire for change. The next section, having separated himself. See, it is a very necessary step in improving yourself and becoming who you're supposed to be, to separate yourself. Not just from the people, not just from the places, not just from the actions, but from the previous version of yourself. You have to separate yourself from those things in life that hold you to that previous version of yourself. I was talking to the brother Spiritual Alpha, and we were having a chop up about that, man. And he was ready to separate himself. Markel is in a position where he's been separated his whole life. He's trying to make sure he keeps that separation. SJ3 has spent many years after having separated himself, seeing the joy of that. King Ray Ray was almost born separated. Yes, did I throw myself into the fire intentionally? Yes, I did. But it didn't take me long to gather what I needed to glean from that environment, from that background, from those people, from those actions, and then separate myself. And I have been separated since. See, through desire, a man having separated himself first seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. Now, why must you separate yourself before you seek and intermeddle with all wisdom? Because there is no wisdom in the environment that you feel the need to separate yourself from. There are lessons that you learned, but that is it. Every single thing in that environment is based on that environment. And this specifically applies to you if you have spent time in urban areas, in the streets, as they call it. If you have spent time in the streets, then yes, you must overcome your desire to remain in that environment because you cannot grow in that environment. Think about the men you see who never left that environment. They have the same mindset that they have always had. They have not changed their mindset. They have not changed their mindset. And when you think about men who live their lives and never changed their mindset, you have to ask yourself, what is the benefit of being that man? I'll give you an example of that right now. Let's take a listen.
OG Percy, right? He's a Crip, right?
Now, when we understand that you have to separate yourself, we see examples around us all the time. And see, here's why you have to separate yourself. Because in that environment, you are surrounded by fools. You were a fool yourself until you realize you were being a fool, until you realize your ways were going to lead to a life that you didn't want, until you realize that all of the actions you were engaged in were going to lead you to an end result that you didn't want for your life. And then you woke up one day and said, I've been a fool. I don't want to be a fool anymore. So what must I do before I can stop being a fool? I must separate myself from this foolish environment. Because why? Proverbs 18:2, a fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. In other words, the only thing a fool wants to understand is how to get the desires of his heart, to get the desires of his loins, to get more money, to be intimate with more women, to go to, when you're in an environment where you brag about going to prison, When you're in an environment where you brag about how many bodies you've caught, when you're in an environment where you brag about all the negative things you've done, then you have no delight in understanding. You go to a situation where you're imprisoned, and instead of making that change while you're there, you come out and you think you're a better version of the person you used to be. The problem is that person has no better version. That person gets worse and worse and worse and worse. See, a 22-year-old hollering cuz makes sense. Is it right? No, but it makes sense. A 32-year-old hollering cuz makes less sense. A 42-year-old hollering cuz makes absolutely no sense. And a 52-year-old hollering cuz is a fool. Proverbs 18, verse 2. A fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. See, here's the thing about the desires of your heart. Yes, when you change your life and become the type of man that God looks out to and says, yes, my son, I am pleased with you. Yes, you will get the desires of your heart, but the desires of your heart are different at that point. The desires of your heart are positive at that point. The desires of your heart bring positive energy to the people around you, to the people who interact with you at that point. A fool, the desires of his heart are to continually do the same foolish things that he's doing. So there are many men out here who are one conviction away from never being free again. From never being free again. I want you to think about that. There are men in their 40s and 50s who are one conviction away from being imprisoned for life. And they are still out here living in that foolish environment, having not separated himself. So he doesn't seek it and intermeddle with all wisdom. He is still seeking the intermeddling with the foolish ideology, the foolish mindsets, the foolish desires, the foolish intentions. And he thinks is wisdom. See, if you can only be wise in one environment, you are not wise. You are a person who has been in that one environment too long. Too long. And this is what you men must understand. These are not my words. These are the words of the Most High via the king and prophet Solomon through the book of Proverbs. See, here's what you must understand. You must separate yourself from the foolish environment, because Proverbs 18:3, when the wicked cometh, then cometh also contempt, and with ignominy reproach. When the wicked and the ignorant, the foolish, the stupid come, contempt and reproach come. That's why when you're in a certain environment, they don't want to see you win. They love you when you're down with them. When you rise up, they hate it. Why? Because the wicked can only bring contempt. Only bring contempt. We talk about this all the time, how you must move around and be in a different environment from the people that you were down on the bottom with, because those people will never see you as someone on the top. That's why you must separate yourself. You can't become the new you around the old people who knew the old you. They don't respect the new you. They don't know the new you. That's why when you're in a certain environment and you grow and change, you become a sellout. Yes, you sold out. You sold the old life to get out of the environment. I don't mind being called a sellout. Yes, I sold my old life to get out of my old environment. There is nothing I have to gain by any level of respect that I can get from that environment, because that environment is irrelevant in all of the other environments. By the time you've been in 10 environments, 11 environments, you've been in the corporate world, you've been where people have nice things and they don't want to take yours, and just long as you don't take theirs, where people do simple things, where there is no noise at night, where people can live comfortably, where people don't have a whole lot of crime going on, where you don't have to worry about your family breaking in your own house or your friends breaking in your own house, in places where there is peace. You realize that everything you got from that one environment doesn't fit in. And I won't necessarily say everything. Let me rephrase that. The mindsets. Yes, there are things you learn in human interaction. Plenty of things you learn about human interaction. But that environment is meant to glean those things and move on. Every environment is meant to glean those things and move on. If you have a God-given talent, we all do. If you have a skill and you are better than everyone around you at it, it is not meant for you to work a job for 65 years with that skill. That is a stepping stone. That is a place for you to move through. But so many people don't understand that separating yourself is the key to wisdom. It is the key to wisdom. It is the key to wisdom. When the wicked cometh, then cometh also contempt. And with ignominy, reproach. What is ignominy? Public shame or disgrace. See, when the wicked cometh, being associated with the wicked brings you public shame and disgrace. And then there's reproach. You men must understand that it is not good to accept the person of the wicked to overthrow the righteous in judgment. It's kind of like when someone does something to an innocent person and that person's family has to grieve and bury them. Then people walk around and say with a t-shirt that says free the guy who did it. The guy has been a menace to his entire society, and people walk around with a t-shirt that says free this guy because they accept the person of the wicked to overthrow the righteous in judgment. That's why there are so many unsolved cases in a certain environment. That's why there are so many things that people know that they won't even help bring the perpetrators to justice on, because they would rather accept the person of the wicked. Don't you know you should separate yourself from that environment? That is why Proverbs 18:1, through desire a man, having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. You cannot see the wisdom outside of that environment until you separate yourself from that environment. When you're in the hood, the no snitching mantra fits you too. When you're in the hood, the do all of these crazy things, and if you leave it out, it's mine, I can take it. All of these things apply to you too until you separate yourself and seek and intermeddle with all wisdom. See, this is what we have to understand. In that environment, you did not know how to keep your lips from entering into contention. When you hear people who are always picking a verbal fight, when you hear people who are always attempting to engage someone in a back and forth, that is a fool. Proverbs 18:6, a fool's lips enter into contention. Listen, not get pulled into contention. A fool's lips enter into contention. What does enter mean? Enter means you come in at the front. You enter. If something going on, you put yourself into it. Enter. When you enter your front door, what do? You enter whatever dwelling that door is connected to. That means you are on the outside and you enter contention with your lips. And his mouth call it for strokes, which means that that man says so much that he deserves. He deserves to be punished. He deserves to be punished. Proverbs 18:7. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Letting your words put you in positions that can put you or the ones you love in harm's way is what a fool would do. You say things that invite certain energies into your environment. Those energies are spiritual enemies. Those spiritual energies are spiritual enemies, and they will be a snare to your soul. Walking around singing the lyrics to certain songs, rapping the lyrics to certain songs, repeating quotes from certain movies, even using certain words when you talk to people, man. It is so easy to invite negative energy into your life by verbally saying, come on in, come on in. And then you wonder why your life is up and down like a roller coaster, up and down like a roller coaster, up and down like a roller coaster. It's the same thing as a man who comes on and he creates content, and it is not who he is, it is not how he lives his life. And then the truth comes out, and that man's entire trust factor, his belief factor dies. Why? Because the man was a fool. A fool's mouth is his destruction. If you are preaching, ministering, talking, teaching things that you don't apply to your own life, you are a fool. You are a liar. You are being dishonest. You are misleading people who are looking to you for that. Woe unto the pastors who lead my flock astray. Woe unto the pastors. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Proverbs 18:8. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. That's why I don't roast. It's foolish. It's foolish to tell lies about someone that you don't know in order to get a laugh. I don't even know how to do it. I don't know how to roast. I don't know how. I don't know how to tell lies about someone that I don't know to get a laugh. I don't know how to do it. Am I saying I don't know how to lie? Yeah. I ain't saying that now. I know how to lie. We all know how to lie. I try to stay away from it, but I know how to do it. Before I take that stand, leave my hand in the life of that and lead that man. Before I take stand, leave my life in the hands of that man. Boy, I get up there, man, tell him what I gotta tell him, man, to keep myself out of there. You know what I'm saying? I ain't do it. I wasn't there. I don't know what you're talking about. We saw you on camera. It wasn't me. Look like you. Hey, man, they say we all got a twin. That was mine. Got your pencil. Somebody took my hands off then. I thought my hands felt funny the next day. It wasn't me. See what I'm saying? What you have to understand is that when you are a talebearer, then you will let your words, the point of your words is to bring someone harm, is to bring someone mental harm, is to bring someone emotional harm, is to bring someone spiritual harm, is to pull someone out of their righteousness and pull them into their wickedness, because that is where your mind is, because you are a fool whose mouth is his destruction, whose lips are a snare to his soul. That is why Proverbs 18:1, through desire, a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. Another thing about that environment you need to separate yourself from is laziness. You know what we call being in your comfort zone? It's just being lazy. It's not about comfort. It's about the ease of being in that environment. It's not comfort, it's easiness. It's simple. You can laze your way through life. You can lazily engage with your days because that environment, you've been in it for so long, you have made it easy for yourself. So being in your comfort zone is just being lazy. It makes you slothful. Proverbs 18:9. He also that is slothful, lazy in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. Now, make that make sense. Make King Ray make that make sense. How is the man who is a lazy man brother to him that is a great waster? Because the lazy man wastes the number one commodity that we have, the most valuable commodity, entity, precious jewel that we have is time. And if you will waste your time, then you, sir, are a great waster. But all you're wasting is time. Because if you waste your time, you ain't gonna never have anything else to waste. It's just gonna be time. Just gonna be time. So if you waste time, you are brother to him that is a great waster. There may be someone who doesn't waste his time, but he wastes his money. He wastes his energy. He wastes his effort. The man who wastes his time is brother to any man who wastes anything. If you will waste your time, you don't care about your life. Your time is your life. Your life is your time. You must understand that. So that's why when we talk about building yourself into the best version of yourself, becoming the most alpha version of yourself, we're not talking about money. We're not talking about things that will endear you to other people. We're talking about things that will endear you to the Most High, things that will endear you to God, man. We're talking about things that will, in that time of need, see, everybody's a superstar. Everybody's a stunner when they got money, when everything is good, when everything is great, when there are no trials and tribulations present. But the very moment those hard times come through, most people change, especially a man who has money and makes money his power. You must understand that. Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. That's what peace of mind is. If you don't know God, you have no peace of mind. You have money. You got people that's hiding out in these hills and these big pretty houses and they're scared to go somewhere. They're scared to be around people. Why? Because they live in fear. They have no safety. They try to move themselves to a safe area. And the very moment too many people they don't like moving to the area, they move themselves to a more expensive, supposedly safer area. Why? Because they don't know God. They don't believe in God. They don't believe there is God. They don't believe it. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. Safe. That don't mean run into it and still have to go through trials and tribulations and do all that. No. When you're safe, then you are safe from those things. Why? Because you have peace of mind. The difference between experiencing trials and tribulations and not experiencing trials and tribulations is having peace of mind as you go through life. If you have peace of mind, then that trial and that tribulation is just life. You're just living. If you don't have peace of mind, that trial and tribulation is something for you to stand up and give a testimony about. See, trials and tribulations should be things you remember as you're transitioning. Once you fully embrace the life that God's put you here to embrace, then you don't have trials and tribulations anymore. Trials and tribulations disappear because you are living in the environment, living in the zone, living in the world, living in the self filter that God has created for you. So even the things that other people crumble under, for you, you go through them with peace of mind. People are shattered because they lose loved ones. When you run to that strong tower that is the Lord, you just experience as a part of life. You have peace of mind throughout it. Things happen financially, you're not worried about it because you're not worried about building your riches as your strong city. You have run into the tower that is the name of the Lord. That's what you have done. Proverbs 18:11. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, and as an high wall in his own conceit. We've seen men, men, man, who think they are better because they have money. You want to see an example of that? Show me a man you know when he was broke and you know him with money now, and he's nothing even close to being the same person. Not even close. See, what you got to understand is a lot of time when you're not living the life that you love, the life you want to live, money will give you the freedom to believe that you can live the opposite life. See, if a man hasn't found his righteousness before he gets money, he never will. You can't get rich and then find your righteousness after that. You can't do that. Because when you get money, it gives you the freedom to keep living in your wickedness. Why? Because you can buy your way out of those things you couldn't buy your way out of before. You understand what I'm saying? When you don't have any limits, when you don't have any spiritual limits, when you don't have any moral compass, then you can get money and do whatever you want to do. That's why a man is so conceited. That's why a man feels like he has power because he can do whatever he wants to do. Most things he wants to do anyway. Enough things where he feels like that gives him a great power. But many times a man who runs to the shelter of finances is a very weak spiritually individual. He has no spiritual man. He has no moral compass. He has no foundation. He is a man where if you strip him of his riches, he will feel like there's no reason to live anymore. He will feel like there's no reason to live anymore. You have to understand that that's what it is. Proverbs 18:12. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, proud. Ah, look at me. That is before destruction. That's before destruction. You know how many young men there are in the penitentiary right now who were these uber, I'm a monster when they were free. And now they call their mama crying after the destruction. Before destruction, the heart of a man is naughty and haughty. Think about that. A man has a proud heart. You don't tell me what to do. I represent this. I do this. Before destruction, a man's heart is haughty, proud, too proud to listen, too proud to receive instruction, too proud to think about righteousness, too proud to think about morality until destruction comes his way. Then what does he want? He goes from being haughty to seeking sympathy, to seeking pity. Before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty, because pride cometh before the fall. You have to understand that. Before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty, and before honor is humility. If you have no humility, you are not an honorable man. You are not honorable. The proud and haughty spirit belongs to a man who is not honorable. You have no honor. When you think about the energy it takes for your sole purpose in life is to get your energy, is to get your spiritual strength from tearing other people down. I want you to think about that. Think about the people around you who don't want to see anyone win. Think about the people you know. Just for instance, think about the people you know who are in relationships with good people, ruin the relationships in an attempt to ruin the person. And they're still the same way. They get in a relationship right now, they ruin the relationship in an attempt to ruin the person. That's why we say things like family and business don't mix. Family and business don't mix. I just had an experience recently within the past year with a family member, man. Like, I will never, there is nothing me and family can do as far as business goes. Nothing. Unless they work for me. That ain't business. That's you being an employee. But as far as doing any business, it don't matter. It don't matter what idea or concept family come up with, man. I will not do business with family at all. You understand what I'm saying? So now, now that that has happened, man, family can't come to me. Family can't come to me, and like, I don't even loan money to family, man. I don't do it. You understand? I've had that experience already. And what happens is you view it as a business situation. Family views it as a personal situation. So they'll feel like they ain't got to pay your money back. If it was anybody else, they'll be scrambling to pay them back. You, family, feel like they don't have to pay you your money back. So before I fall out with family, I just say, okay, I'll just keep family separate from that. From even that. You know what I'm saying? For me, going into business with family, I ain't never did that. But as far as like that, for me, that's business. I mean, whether it's for a bill or whatever it's for, if you borrow from someone, it's for, if you go get a loan from the bank, it's business. Okay, so if you get a loan, I don't make personal loans. I ain't, I make business loans. But it will never, it is always personal with them. And so that is why we live the way we live. Proverbs 18:13. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. I'll give you a perfect example of that. On the BOA channel, every now and then, someone will, say some negative things. Depending on what size their channel is, I'll look at my analytics and see if what they said moved the needle. If it did, I'll just say any old crazy thing to give them a reason to respond again. Because me, I don't engage in it. It's me saying, okay, let's see if I can double up on whatever boost came to me from you talking about. And so I'll just respond randomly. Just say all type of crazy things. Just to say them. Say all type of incendiary things. Say things, man. Just say confusing things. Man, I'll say one thing and then say the opposite in the same conversation. Just to have that happen again. And then I get 2 for 1. But if it doesn't move the needle, I'm not going to respond. That's because I don't rush and answer a situation before I hear it, think about it, assess it, check it out, see if it's going to be beneficial, see if it's not going to be beneficial. Some things, even in my personal life and real life, I absolutely ignore. I just ignore it. I just ignore it. My daughter's used to me not answering things. She say certain things. She know if she'll come to it within about 5 to 10 seconds. She'll come to realize that it was just something silly. I don't even respond to it. I don't cut up about it. I don't acknowledge it. I just keep doing what I'm doing. I don't even respond to it because you don't rush to respond. When you rush to respond, then that makes you automatically a fool whose mouth is his destruction and his lips are the snare of his soul. See, here's what you got to understand. You can live in this world as a physical being, but what about your spiritual being? What about your spirit, man? What about that version of you that is responsible for what you put out into the physical world? What about that version? You must think about that. Proverbs 18:14. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? A wounded spirit who can bear? No one can bear a wounded spirit. That is the phase that makes a man wonder if it's worth living anymore. The spirit of a man will help him make it through a sickness, an illness, an injury. Hold on, y'all. About to sneeze. Didn't want that to come through. The spirit of a man. Your spirit, man, is the most important aspect of your life, and yet so many men don't even try to act like they know it's there. They don't even act like they know it's there. They act like it doesn't exist. They act like they're physical inside and out. They act like there is no breath of life that was breathed into them. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear? Here's the thing, living in that environment that you're trying to separate yourself from, it will wound your spirit. As you're growing and becoming the best version of yourself, if you're in an environment where people don't want that to happen, they're going to impede that progress. They're going to get in the way. They're going to stand in front of you and say, how dare you change into the best version of yourself when we are stuck here being what we are? How dare you change on us? How dare you grow on us? How dare you become better than us? Become better than this environment? How dare you do that? And that is why Proverbs 18:1 says, through desire, a man, having separated himself, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. All wisdom now. Every little bit of information you see ain't wisdom. That's the problem with the world today. Everybody wants to take every bit of information they can. That's not wisdom. If you go around and you take all information, then you're foolish. You have no ability to discern what is good for you from what is not. You have no ability to do that. Proverbs 18:15. The heart of the prudent getteth knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. The heart of the prudent getteth knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. Knowledge, not information. Knowledge. Listen, if you believe that this is that, you know this, you believe in your spirit, why go seek out things that oppose what you believe? You are your own enemy. You are the enemy to your own spirit, the enemy to your own well-being, the enemy to your own psyche, the enemy to your own spirit, man. If you are constantly seeking out information to refute the knowledge that you have, because there's always information to refute your knowledge, there is no knowledge to refute your knowledge. Knowledge does not refute knowledge. Knowledge blends with knowledge to create more knowledge. So do you believe what you believe, or do you know what you know? Ask yourself that question. I know what I know. I don't believe it. So when people say your spiritual beliefs, I don't have no spiritual beliefs. I have spiritual knowledge. I know what I know. I don't care what you know. You can believe or you could, whatever you doing over there, keep doing it. But what I believe is that beliefs don't matter. Only knowledge matters. How willing are you to stand on what you stand on because you know it? Because you have gotten knowledge, because your heart is prudent and you seek knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. If you don't have fear of the Lord, you have no knowledge. You have information. Education is not knowledge, education is information. You can read 50 books. That's not knowledge, that's information. What is knowledge? Knowledge never changes. Knowledge has been the same since the beginning of time. It is what's passed along from the elders. That's why younger generations are so lost today, because they don't pay attention to the elders. Elders, I mean elders, spiritual elders, not just because somebody's old, spiritual elders. Archer Engineer, appreciate the $60 sponsorship of the show, my brother. Appreciate you being in the joint. Always coming through, man, with the major support. I appreciate it. Proverbs 18:16. A man's gift maketh room for him and bringeth him before great men. Didn't we just talk about the gift earlier? We talked about the gift. We talked about the gift that you use to put yourself in a situation where you're working the same job for until you're 65 years old and you retire. You ain't even got no money to live on, but you can't work no more because you never built no way for you to do it without the job that just told you it's time for you to go. A man's gift. Your gift. What is your gift? See, when you're in a certain environment, everybody has something negative to say about your gift. You know how many times I have heard someone talking bad about someone being a content creator, but it's only people from a certain environment, from a certain background that say it. You go to people from other backgrounds, they are dying to be able to be a full-time content creator. I mean, there are people who are, man, they are praying and grinding and hustling and going to be a full-time content creator. They would love to be able to do it. They would love to be able to create the content that they love to create and be able to do it every day because they are full-time and they're able to sustain their life with it. They would love to be able to do that. But then there's a certain environment where the people act like that's the worst thing you could do. That's why Proverbs 18:1 says, through desire, a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. Because when you're in a certain environment, people don't want your gift to make room for you and bring you before great men. They don't want you to be before great men unless you take them with you before great men. They don't want you to be before people. They don't want you to influence the world because they want to influence the world. But guess what? It is not their gift. That is why you must elevate yourself out of the giftless environment and elevate yourself into the environment of the gifted. What is the gifted? The gifted environment are those who have separated themselves from their previous life, from their previous actions, from their previous environments, so they can elevate and become the best version of themselves, the version that God put them here to be. A man's gift maketh room for him and bringeth him before great men. Proverbs 18:17. He that is first in his own cause seemeth just, but his neighbor cometh and searcheth him. People will come and prove you to be who you say you are and see if you stand on what you say you stand on, or if you're just doing it for the benefit of yourself. A man coming, talking, saying this, talking about this, preaching this, teaching this, when he's not living it, somebody's going to call him on it. Why? Because that's what God intended for it to happen. You are intended to be called on the things you say. You're intended to be called to prove that you are who you say you are, that you live the life that you are telling other men to live, that you do the things that you are telling other men to do, that you are an example of what you are telling other men to be. So being first in your own cause seems like a wonderful thing to be until you are tried, tested, and proved lacking and not being who you say you are. Is any of us going to be perfect? No. But you must be an example of who you say you are. You must be that, man. You must understand, man. You must understand. You must understand, man. It is a tough world that we live in to navigate as a man who is seeking to be the most righteous version of himself. It is a lot to navigate. It really is. And it's a tough place to be. It's a tough place to be. Hmm. I'll say this to y'all, man. When you think about this, man, we as men have to keep in mind that no matter what we're told, it is okay for you to grow. No matter how people try to shame you for growing, it is okay for you to grow. It is your job to grow. It is your job to grow. As a man, it is your job to grow. It is your job to grow, and it is your job to make sure that other people can go, can grow with your guidance. Proverbs 18 and 18. The lot causeth contentions to cease and parteth between the mighty. What's the lot? Choices, options. When someone comes in with the voice of reason and gives options to the clash, to the contention, options, the voice of reason, the lot causes contentions to cease and parteth between the mighty. Here's the voice of reason. This is not the way to do it. Let's talk. Let's come to another reasonable solution. Parted between the mighty. Here we go. Here's a war. Let's talk about peace. Let's talk about how we can see if this is the only way. Sometimes contention is the only way. But let's have a voice of reason to come in and give choices, give options to see if there's a better way. Is there a better way than this? Is there a better way than contention? Is there a better way than war? Is there a better way than being adversarial? Is there a better way than destruction? Is there a better way? The lot causeth contentions to cease, to stop, to end, and parteth between the mighty. Let's separate these two mighty sides. They don't have to battle. You go be mighty over there. I'll be mighty over here. Let's come together and see if we can be mighty together. The goal is not to invoke war. The goal is to invoke peace and only use war when peace is not a possible resolution. War is meant to be implemented when peace is not a possible solution. When all diplomatic attempts have failed to create a peaceful end, then war must be the answer. It is the only answer left. Proverbs 18:19. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle. A brother offended. That is why you treat the people around you. You treat them the way you want to be treated. You treat them fairly. You give people what they deserve. You give people what they earn. That is how you keep from offending your brother. That's how you keep from offending your team. That's how you keep from offending your squad. That is how you keep from offending those who support you. I would never come on here and berate you men. No matter what level you're on. Yes, I will call out the tactics, but I will never come on here and berate you men. You men make up the kingdom of Ray. You men make up the alpha sphere. Now, I ain't gonna lie now. If you gotta get out and do something crazy, I'm probably gonna call you on it. But it'll only be necessary because you've earned it with your actions. You cannot win a brother over once you have offended him because vengeance is there in his mind, in his heart. You can't be trusted anymore. When you cross certain lines, you can't be trusted anymore. See, me, if it's business, I just want to do business with you no more. If it's personal, we won't have no personal relationship. Until you offend both of those, we could do one. If you cross the line in a personal in a personal relationship, personal way, then we won't ever have a personal relationship again, ever. We could die and come back, still won't have a personal relationship. But we can still do business. I've done business with people who claim to be enemies of mine. Made a lot of money with them too. But even after that, we weren't homies no more. You know what I'm saying? We end up just becoming the best of friends. And there are other situations where I made money with people, man, that I just met for the first time. We still friends now. 20 years later. Spiritual alpha. Appreciate the dub. Salute, dog. Salute to you, man. Salute. Appreciate you. Proverbs 18:20. A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. See, we're talking about spirituality here. Your belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of your mouth. Your spiritual belly shall be full. You shall be a man who is spiritually astute. You shall have a strong bond with the Most High. You shall have peace of mind. You shall have the energy to overcome the things you need to overcome. You shall have the power to resist the temptations that can drop a man back to the bottom of existence. Because you speak positive spirituality into your life. You speak positive spirituality into your life. You speak so much positivity into the air that people who aren't positive don't even enjoy being around you. Do you know the power in being so positive spiritually that people who are negative spiritually can't even stand in your presence? They don't want to be around you. They don't want to attack you. They want to be away from you. That is the goal for us all, man. That is the goal for us all. That is the goal for us all. A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. Continue to talk the positivity, man. Continue to talk about how good God is, man. Continue to talk about how you've been delivered from your own self to your new self. Hey, man, continue to talk about that. Continue to tell people. Continue to minister that. Continue to preach that. Continue to teach that. Continue to fill the world with the knowledge and understanding that there is a way to navigate this world with peace of mind. And that way, it's Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. This is what we must understand, man. Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Words are super powerful, brothers. We just talked about speaking positivity into your life, into your environment. You can speak the same negativity into your environment. That's why I don't talk to people, man, who talk negative. Nobody can call me and tell me about their problems. In order for me, listen, that's even family. In order for family to talk to me about their problems, they got to book consultation. I'm not interested in hearing about nobody's issues. Not in my free time, in my time that I have to myself. I'm gonna listen. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing that. I don't need to cloud my free time. I don't need to cloud my life with somebody else's problems. And in order for us to have a discussion about your problems and come to some solutions, bookofafroenemy.com/collections/consultations. That's it. That's everybody. Man, family can't call. Don't call me complain about your problem with your old lady. Don't call me complain about your problem with your job. Don't call me complain about your problem with your business. Don't call me complain about nothing. Because I was living in peace of mind before you called me trying to talk about your issues. Nope. I have to legitimately block part of my life. This is my time we're talking about. We're talking about, remember what we said up top. Remember what we said up top. He also that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great time waster. If you are slothful in your work, you are a time waster. You are a time waster. So you are brother to him that is a great waster. Slothful, when you are slothful in your work, you take more time to do things than you should. If it takes you 10 hours to do 2 hours worth of work, boy, you just wasted 8 hours of your time. You can't get it back. You can lose $1 million, man, and get $1 million back next year. All these 365 days you lose this year, boy, you ain't never getting them back. All them hours gone, homie. All of them gone. And so you have to remember that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and that they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. See, there we go. Talking about that spiritual food again. See, every time we talk about his belly shall be full, people can't think with their spirit. So they think about, boy, Thanksgiving just left, Christmas coming back. No, we're not talking about food for your physicality. We're talking about spiritual food. We talk about the type of food, man, that make you feel like you ain't even hungry physically, boy. We talking about that good food. Watch what you say, because you will invoke spirit energies into your life. Watch who you tie yourself to. Watch who you make these promises to. Watch who you make these vows to. Watch how you going up in that place, man, talking about the power invested in me. Some man that said the power invested in you by who? Who invested that power in you? God invested the power in me to pick my own wife. I ain't got to go nowhere and let nobody talk about it. By the power invested in you, I'm not finna let that governor be attached to nothing I do. Proverbs 18:22. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. Oh, that's the one right there, boy. That's the one. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing. Now, that don't mean find a woman to marry. That ain't what that means. There's women all over the place. You can easily find a woman to marry. That don't make her a wife. A wife is a woman who was born, raised, geared to be a wife. There's a certain way she's going to interact with you. There's a certain energy she's going to have. There's a certain energy she's never going to have. There's a certain level of femininity that's always going to be there. There's a certain level of reverence she was raised to show you. She don't know how to not show you that. She don't know how to. Why? Because she was born and raised to be a wife. Say, he who findeth a wife findeth a good thing, not he who goes and marry some woman. You think Kanye found a good thing when he married Kim Kardashian? You think Corey Hodgick found a good thing when he married Tia Mowry? You think Russell Simmons found a good thing when he married Kimora Lee Simmons? You think Dr. Dre found a good thing when he married Nicole Young? And this list goes on and on. We are not talking about finding a woman to say, I do. We are talking about a woman who was raised to be a wife. He who findeth the woman, what woman have you met who fits into your life perfectly? See, we're talking about spirit now. We're beyond the physical, baby. We're talking about spirituality right now. What woman spiritually fits into your life? See, here's the thing we got to understand as men. None of us is perfect. So this whole idea that we all are going to have this virgin wife who blah, blah. No, we have done things in our lives that have displeased God, a bunch of them. So the same way we have to look at a situation and say, okay, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this, I've done that. That's my past. But at the same time, God forgives, but he doesn't forget. Remember that. All of the ways Moses led the children of Israel, for one thing he did, he could not go into the promised land. He had to go up on a mountain and look into it. And then he died on that mountain. Why? Because God forgives, but he doesn't forget. So stop letting society's precepts and concepts tell you that that woman who fits into your life perfectly is not good enough. But she fits into your spiritual life perfectly, but she's not good enough physically. Well, she fits into my spiritual life perfectly. But maybe she's not this make-believe fairy tale princess who hasn't been affected by this same world you're in. Don't you understand we all live in the same world? The same way this world has affected us, it has affected them too. It's affected a woman, man. There ain't no perfect woman in this world. Even some of the places you thought you could go and get a perfect woman. No, you can get a woman who treats you or interacts with you the way a woman should. She was raised to be a certain way, but this world has affected us all, brothers. It's affected us all. We all have scars from the wounds we've gotten from this world. So we're talking about finding the wife. We're talking about who can find a woman who spiritually fits into the life of a righteous man, who does the things that you would want her to do, who says the things that you would want her to say, who supports the process of your progress the way a woman should, who is a helpmeet to what it is you are doing in your life. Whoso findeth that woman findeth the good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. Proverbs 18:23. The poor useth entreaties, but the rich answereth roughly, which means the poor is just more diplomatic. The poor is more willing to try to work through a situation. The rich is more likely to put money on your head, pretty much. When money changes you, it changes you spiritually as well. It doesn't just change you mentally, emotionally. Doesn't just change your lifestyle. Don't just change your bank account zeros. It changes you spiritually. If it changes you at all, it changes you spiritually first. What does it do? There's two things that are going to happen to a man who gets money. Either he's going to become more in tune with who he is spiritually because he doesn't want the money to change him. And he is who he is. So now he's just got more money, but he still is who he is. Still drive the same car. Still ain't went out there and bought no crazy jewelry or none of that stuff. Ain't trying to look like a rapper. Ain't trying to be a rapper. Because contrary to popular belief, rappers make more money and end up broker than anybody else who makes money, even athletes. So you have to always be that same diplomatic person, that same person. You can't get money and look down on people whose level you used to be on financially, and now you're too good to interact with them like they're human beings. It simply means treat people like a human being. Man who get money feel like people ain't even human no more. That means that when you didn't have money, you felt like you weren't human. Something was wrong with you. The poor useth entreaties, but the rich answereth roughly. Because the rich believes he is protected by his money from recompense. He can guard himself from consequences and repercussions. Proverbs 18:24. A man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. A man who has friends must show himself friendly. Meaning, a man who has people that care about him must show that he cares about people as well. A man who has people that support him must show that he supports people as well. A man who has people that love him must also show that he loves people as well. A man who has people that are there for him must show that he is there for people as well. And out of that circle of people, there's going to be someone who you're not related to who interacts with you like they're your blood brother. Don't you have one? Have you ever had one? Put a one in the chat if you have a homie who's close to you like a brother. Have you have any friend that's closer to you than your brother? Have you ever had any friend that's closer to you than your brother? And it don't just go for brothers. There are men who grew up in situations where their friend's mother was a better mother to them than their own mother was. And not always because their mother was just bad. Sometimes she had to work hard to keep the lights on, to keep food on the table. Sometimes if your father wasn't there, what if your father was passed? Or what if your father was in prison or your father just wasn't there? Wasn't there a man in your life who was more of a father to you than your own father was? He who has friends must show himself friendly. And there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. This is what we must understand about our lives. Through desire, a man having separated himself seeketh wisdom, seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. This is what really happens, man. Ice Cold G. Appreciate the 50 bone sponsorship of the show, man. Ice Cold G says, man, all praise to the Most High. Was just reading through Proverbs 18 this Sabbath morning. We have to keep striving on this righteous path. Thanks, King Ray Ray, for continuing to do the Most High work. Salute to you, G. Good to see you back in the joint, man. It's been a minute. Another good brother right there, man. Chopped it up with him a few times, man. It's a good brother. He on the path as well, man. Brothers are on the path. Brothers, we must stay on the path of righteousness. The people around you, of course, you have to separate yourself from them because they will pull you back into unrighteousness. They will have you thinking that you're wrong for seeking a righteous life for yourself, for seeking a righteous interaction with the Most High. They will tell you that you are selling out yourself. You think you better than everybody. Well, if I'm seeking righteousness and you're not, I am better than you. You have a problem with that because you don't want to get on the path. Fine, that's your choice. But me, I will get on the path. So, brothers, I appreciate y'all, man, being in the joint, man. Good show this early Sabbath, man. Good show. Amazing banger, man. We got to come on, man, and really get into our King Ray Rayism, man. We got to spark the kingdom, and we got to make it known that we are here and we are doing this, and we are giving men the information that they need in order to become the best version of themselves, which is the most alpha version of themselves. And you cannot be alpha without the Most High. Midnight life. Welcome to that family. Welcome to the GLG. Again, my brother Ice Cold G. Appreciate the sponsorship of the show, man. Appreciate the sponsorship. Archer Engineer. Appreciate the co-sponsorship, man. I appreciate you, brothers, man. Also, to my brother Spiritual Alpha, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate the donation. Appreciate the time that you men have taken on this early Sabbath morning, man, to do the things that we need to do, and that is for us to congregate in here and make sure that we are helpers of one another. Salute to my brother SJ3, D Flam. Salute, famo. I appreciate y'all being in the building, man. So let's head on out of here, man. Listen, man, enjoy your rest, man, on the rest of your Sabbath day, man. Enjoy your rest, relax, and let's get ready, man, to get on the grind. The week is about to start over. I appreciate y'all, man. Let's head on out of here. Peace.